Good morning, everybody, and welcome to RVTV. How are we on this sunny Sunday morning? Is it sunny in your parts of the world?
Yeah, it's very hot over here.
Yeah,
70s already. Yeah.
70s?
Yeah.
It's not raining.
No.
Bloody hell.
It's very sunny. The kids are going off to the beach in a minute for fishing, not swimming. Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fish for tea then, Kev. Fish for tea.
Yeah, a couple of salmon bass would be nice. Yeah.
Very nice. I'll make the chips, shall I?
Yeah.
Okay then, guys. As I was saying earlier, I've completely cocked up these banners. So here we go.
Go for it.
Looking good so far. That's good.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just I didn't update the team sheet. So anyway. So I shall read out the team sheet. It was Forster in goal, Longley. Hang on a minute. Longley, Sanchez, Royale, Davis, Danjuma, Basuma, Skip, Sun, Kulusevski, and Kane.
Yep.
Spurs versus Brentford. I don't think we've ever lost at home to them, have we?
No.
Until yesterday.
Record breakers.
Yeah.
Do it in style, don't we?
Yeah. So, talk to me, fellas. What are your feelings?
Well, I'll go first. I've actually, full disclosure, I've got a special guest with me this week. Sorry, I didn't tell you beforehand, but I've managed to get an Arsenal fan to come along, if that's all right. So, do you want to say hello? Do you want to say hello?
Hello to my little friend.
11 red bottlers play for Arsenal.
Anything you want to say? Oh, we had so many injuries, and man, they've got loads of money, Man City. It wasn't really our fault. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, how could we compete with Man City losing to Forest?
Even though they spent the same
Brighton,
money.
Yeah,
drawing at home to Southampton. How could we compete with Man City?
Exactly. What was it? They were leading two games. They were 2-0 up, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And they
Liverpool
they went on to
game
draw them.
and West Ham, wasn't it?
I was going to come on to that later, but we might as well do that bit now.
Yeah.
Like it, ad-libbing random stuff, yeah.
Yeah, jazz freeform.
Do you know what? 7 weeks ago, they were 8 points clear. Fuck me.
That's a hell of an implosion.
But I don't know if you've seen that that picture of which teams who have led the league the longest during the season, and they're on there 3 times. And
4 now. 4 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and we're not even on there.
We led. I think we led for a week in that Leicester season.
Over Christmas,
and yet we're the bottlers. But I keep hearing all of this stuff. This gooner on Twitter yesterday was saying, "Why is nobody talking about Tottenham bottling this season? They were in 4th place, 2 points off 3rd." It's like, no, sorry, mate. Yeah.
That's not what bottling means.
We haven't been going on about how we're going to win the league the whole season and celebrating and doing.
It's a beautiful thing.
It certainly is. Yeah, I think I upset the missus a little bit yesterday because I just couldn't stop going on about it.
I completely filled my boots. I went in on them hard because I've been just waiting for that mathematical possibility.
Yeah.
All season we've had to put up with it, haven't we? Like, we're going to win the league, and you lot are we're concentrating on the league. We don't need to do Europe. We don't need League Cup. We don't need FA Cup. We've got bigger fish to fry. That's what that Robbie said on AFTV. When we've got bigger fish to fry, we're after the league. Concentrating on the league.
Yeah.
Fuck all.
That video that you sent me yesterday of expressions.
It's great, wasn't it? Oh, he went on him hard, didn't he?
Absolutely hilarious. Absolutely.
The previous week, Jens, he bought about 3 or 4 crates of water bottles and just put them all around the studio for when Robbie got in, load of bottle. Just kept throwing bottle at him all the time. He had to sit there and take it. It was great.
They do a show together, do they? I haven't seen that.
The best of enemies. It's called. It's quite
right,
good.
okay,
Yeah, Tottenham and Arsenal. Yeah,
all about the Benjamins with those two, anyway, isn't it? So
yeah.
Okay then. So let's go back to Spurs versus Brentford. Kane scores a free kick almost.
Do you know, I want to take full responsibility for that, because the stream I was watching, just as they put the ball on the spot for the free kick, the commentator said, well, this looks like a dangerous position for Spurs for the free kick. And I was like, oh, shut up, mate. We ain't got nobody that can take a decent free kick. So
the anti-jinx, the famous anti-jinx.
Yes.
they all
take it, actually.
Yeah, he's been hitting some good.
I was saying I thought Porro might have took it, but there you go.
Yeah.
But Harry's the boss, so.
Well, I think, to be honest, that was the only good thing that Kulusevski did in that match.
He left the field, didn't he?
Sorry?
He left the field. He was subbed at the end.
Yeah.
But even then, I thought we was going to pick up, and maybe he done a double touch on the back pass, if it got the back heel thing, you know?
Yeah.
He dragged his foot across the top of the ball, and I thought, they're going to say it's double contact or something. That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Knowing our luck.
Strange, wasn't it? He seemed a yard off the pace again, didn't he? Which he's been playing recently, so he should have no excuses for not being up to speed and up and running. But my sister said, he actually did all right. I said, no, not to his usual levels. Maybe he's made a rod for his own back because he's had so many good appearances earlier in the season that he's not living up to those levels now, is he? But wasn't at the races yesterday, was he?
No, I don't think.
I was keeping an eye on him throughout the game by the time he was on the pitch anyway, and he's technically, ability-wise, he's still got it. Like, he was making space for himself all the time. He is always free and always wanted the ball as well, which is good. It's just that burst of pace that he had before, and that the ability to go past people. I think it's just a confidence thing. I think it's a psychological thing, which probably has impacted a lot of the players, considering the fucking manager free-for-all that we've had recently. But if we had someone like Harry Redknapp in charge, just put a shoulder around him and say, look, you're 50% of the way there to getting back to where you were. Remember what you can do and just do it. Because he's worth keeping, I think, just about. I think it's obligation anyway, isn't it, on the loan? But
I don't think it is an obligation.
Well, there was rumours earlier in the week, Simon, people saying that Tottenham haven't decided whether to pursue the deal for Kulusevski because we haven't got a manager and a director of football in place, and everyone was saying, well, how can they offer Eric Dyer a new contract if they haven't got a manager and a director of football in place? But as soon as it comes to Levy spending some money, we can't push ahead with the Kulusevski deal because we haven't got a manager or a director of football.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think he had a muscular injury, didn't he? So maybe he's like afraid to go full pelt in case his muscle goes again. You often get that. Don't know when they're coming back. That's what it was for Sweden when it was a muscular injury, wasn't it? So, like Sessegnon's always reluctant to go full pelt now, in case his muscle goes again. So maybe Kulusevski's got a touch of that. Didn't want to go full pelt.
That's just because Sessegnon's shit. So.
Well, that too, yeah.
You almost reached the water, 10 seconds before, and you had to swear.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still sitting on the fence a little bit with Kulusevski. As you said, Johnny, I thought he was brilliant at the start of the season. But there's been too many poor performances recently. And if it is down to an injury, then okay, fair enough. If he can have a full pre-season and get back to the form. But as you say, Mr. Levy doesn't, he's not going to want to sign a croc. We've had enough of those anyway.
I think there's an element of him pruning because Conte's gone as well. I think that also contributes to it because he was the one that was instrumental in bringing him over and he wanted him at Juventus and all that, didn't he? So he's probably got the needle about Conte leaving a little bit as well. So what, are the Swedes like that, are they, Jens, or not in general? Are they moody sorts or?
No, simple sorts.
Not moody. Oi, I've got Swedish blood. Cheeky bastard.
I wouldn't say they're moody. I think the Swedes are usually some of the happiest people I've ever, when I was in contact with a lot of Swedish people, they're some of the happiest people I've ever met. But you also have to remember that he's okay. He was born in Sweden, but he's Serbian or something. Parents are Serbian, and the Serbian Swedes that I met, they're all complete nutcases. So, yeah.
And he's got that red-headed gene as well, hasn't he? So he can that irate, easy. Red ant, yeah.
You'll have them all exploding on Twitter about that, John. That's yeah.
I said redheads, not gingers. Oh damn! I just done that.
The thing with Kula yesterday, like when he was at his best, right? His performance yesterday would have been mediocre. That would have been a mediocre performance for him.
Yeah.
But the way he is now, like that is one of those kind of performances. Like, yeah, you've contributed to the team, but we're probably going to sub you off. But now it's a case of like, oh, actually, he played well. He played well because it's relative to his recent performances. So I still think we should keep him from the point of view of like, well, we've seen it before, haven't we? Like players come back into form. I think he's just like you say with the injury and everything, because certain injuries affect you kind of like psychologically as well. So I think it's a case of that. I think we should keep him purely because Danjuma's usually is best not on the right hand side, and we need somebody on that right hand side. So unless we get Spence back, of course.
I also think there's an element of him playing in his a different position yesterday because he played at number 10, didn't he? So usually when he's on the wing, he's used to running into space and just isolating a man one-on-one, but it's more congested in the middle there, wasn't it? So he had to, obviously hasn't played there for a while, so trying to find those little pockets of space. And then as soon as he turned, he had people on him, didn't he? Kind of thing. So it'll take him a while to get back into the swing of things at playing at number 10. And he probably won't get it, will he? Because we've got like one game left and then new manager might come in and will he be playing number 10 next year? Will he be here? You know?
Yeah. So talking to Danjuma, that chance, I thought he did very well to actually direct it towards goal when the ball came over from, I'm not sure if it was Davo, and he
the little header when he helped it on.
I thought that was a shame because he actually looked one of our more lively players. Do you think we're going to sign him permanently?
I hope so, because him and Basuma there in the middle looked pretty decent. Lively, quick, and it's with both of them, you didn't really see much of them because as soon as they were so quick, as soon as they got the ball, they released it, made a good pass, and then they're off again, which is exactly what you want, really. You get the likes of Højbjerg and stuff like that who want to kind of like run with it and then deliver a pass which comes off like 3 times out of 10, which is fine. But them two in the middle there,
Højbjerg wastes his arms around a lot. So
yeah, them two in the middle there, I thought were really good. It was just give and go, and they like carried it forward a couple of yards and then delivered. Really kind of enthusiastic and stuff like that, which is. And then they're making nuisances of themselves from the point of view of like, Danjuma getting that chance. He's a bit like Kane really, where they're involved in a link-up play 30 yards back, and then they find you see them in penalty area waiting. So which is good. It's exactly what we need. I think.
You'd like to think that decision would be up to the new manager or the new director of football, wouldn't you? Though, really, rather than Levy or anyone that's there at the moment. There'll be a deadline in place where we have to say yes or no to whether we want to make it permanent. And has anyone at the club got authority to say that when there's no manager or director of football there?
Well, that's what Levy said, didn't he? When he appointed Sean Mullen, whatever his name is. He's like, I want him to take over all the footballing side of things. But he's not a director of football, is he? So.
And he's on gardening leave till 1st of July, isn't he? So he technically can't make any decisions until the 1st of July.
Well, exactly. So he should, I hope, right now, because we need a director of football before we get a new manager. That's just a given. And I hope he's shopping around now, just interviewing people now, even though technically he can't appoint anybody. We need a director of football. I think Glenn Hodder will be a good shout. I think. Do we
really need a director of football before a manager though?
Yeah. Because
how many years before this whole director of football thing came in did we just have a manager, and yeah, we did okay. So I'm not 100% sure that this director of football is absolutely necessary before we get a manager.
The argument for it, Jens, is that it gives consistency to the club. But the director of football, even if you sack a manager, he stays there. But we never keep the director of football long enough, do we? They come and go like managers, don't they? Right? He's gone. Baldini, get rid of him. Yeah. Paul Mitchell, get rid of him. Yeah. They don't stay, do they? So the whole argument for having a director of football is kind of mute, isn't it? Because they don't stick around long enough to provide any consistency and any long-term vision and stuff. So.
Also, it's a different world from like 30, 40 years ago. Whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it's much more business-like now. As well, we know this more than anyone, don't we? How much more about money and everything it is.
Yeah.
But from a business point of view, yeah, it's the same as in the business world. Like if you're, executive manager at that level coming in, you want a structure in place. You want to be like come in and you go right. Who do I talk to about this? Who do I talk to about this? Who do I talk about this? And with a business like it is these days, Levy's not going to be available. So we need a director of football there. So the manager can go like, right, what's my budget? You know, can I get this person? Who have you got? And all this kind of stuff. It's that communication thing, which I think is essential this day and age.
Good morning, you
could just get one of them bears and program it, couldn't you, Jens? Like, have we got any money available? No. What can we do? Have you got a cheaper version? Just send the bear into negotiations and just follow it through. No, we've got no money. No, we're not paying that. Have you got a cheaper option who's younger and with a sell-on value? Just press the buttons and then let the bear sit there. That bear to the right of you, Simon. Maybe we could send that bear in. Yeah. Put one of those cheap, like the greetings card things in there. No.
Shall we just wait until we can get the cheaper price?
To you. But yes, morning, Alan. As you say, morning all. Another day in the life of Shambles.
Never a dull day.
Yeah. But going back to the match, I actually thought the first half was pretty solid.
Do you know what? It was so good, wasn't it? Ben Davies, for me, I mean, everybody like Skip and all that did what they're good at. You know, the Skip was great. Everybody was great. But Ben Davies for me was just outstanding. He was everywhere, and he's putting in decent crosses, and he was defending well, and he was just. It was like it was his debut or something. Do you know what I mean? He had that kind of feel about him. Brilliant.
I put the kiss of death on him, didn't I, Jens? I put the kiss of death on Davies. I put in your Facebook group before the game. Davies must be looking around thinking, oh, fuck me, what have I got to work with here? And then he was at fault for 2 of the goals, wasn't he? So it's my fault. I put the kiss of death on him.
Second half was a bit of a downer, yeah.
Sorry, Kev?
The second half, he was on a bit of a downer, wasn't he? He just couldn't do anything right in the second half.
I have to say that I thought in the first half, I would give man of the half to Sonny. I thought he looked back to his old self. He looked really lively.
Sanchez, bloody Sanchez! Did you see him nearly give away that penalty? I mean, oh my god! Like,
love his new haircut though, quality.
Right by the touchline, and it's like dire, isn't it? It's like, you know, when you see Sanchez run alongside a player, like, you know you're going to lose. Just don't fucking stick your leg out. And like he did, and like they were just. Thankfully, he released the ball before he pulled him down. I'm like, oh my god, he's just going to give away a fucking penalty.
I think it'd have been a fair result to be 3 or 4-0 up at half time at least.
Yeah, definitely.
The way it was going.
What was his name? Ben Mee and Rico Henry.
Yeah.
They defended with their absolute lives in that first half, and
we should get Ben Mee. We should get him.
Yeah, he's only a youngster, isn't he?
Yeah,
well, Ben Mee's getting on a bit, but
he's been on a free transfer.
Sorry,
free transfer they got him for Burnley.
Really? Yeah. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And then okay, let's get on to the second half.
Yeah. Oh dear.
The difference was Son and Basuma kind of disappeared from the game, didn't they? They were so influential in the first half, and then they didn't really. You didn't see him in the second half, did you?
That tackle he made when he got booked was so unnecessary, wasn't it? What was the point of that? Basuma,
I thought he was getting sent off. I went, oh god, that was he left the ground, didn't he? I went diving in. I was like, oh, this could be trouble.
I have to say, I was really happy that we supposedly Højbjerg has a knock. but I think it was nice to, I'm one of Højbjerg's biggest fans, or used to be. But over the last 6 months or so, he's been terrible. Now, I don't know if it is because he's tired. I don't know if he's just lost. Sorry?
World Cup hangover, everything.
Yeah. Very, very possibly.
He's played a lot of football. He's played a lot of football,
in
hasn't
the
he?
World Cup as well. So, so yeah, he has played a lot of football, and maybe if he gets this summer will be the perfect chance to get a rest because there's no international football. Or there might be some Nations League games or something like that, but he'll actually have a rest. Although, when does pre-season kick off? It's late June or something, isn't it?
It's a short turnaround, isn't it? Because of the World Cup again.
Yeah. So
he's the kind of character that plays through injuries as well, Jens, as you know, that if he's got a knock or an injury, he'll play on to his own detriment to help the team. So he's earned a rest.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't play against Leeds. There'd
be no point.
To be honest, I want Leeds to go down. I prefer Everton to stay up. So I'd like us to beat them. My experience of Leeds fans when I was at university in Nottingham is not a positive one. So
knowing our players, they'll be on the beach, won't they, Jens? They'll be on the beach. Our players, Leeds have got that one. Yeah. Yeah,
I think they have, which is a shame because I'd actually prefer Everton to stay up, but. Then again, my experience with Everton fans has not been that positive either. So, what could you say?
I want a team like Everton to go down, or even Leicester to go down, just to scare the shit out of everybody else. Just like look at Everton being in top flight for that long.
Yeah, they've never been out of it, have they?
Yeah, and it could happen to anybody. It could happen to anybody.
It would be highly amusing if Leicester go down.
Yeah.
Again, their fans are a special breed. But yeah, Alan, second half. Knew it was Spurs that I was watching. Yeah, it's very true. Kev, give us your thoughts on the second half and what went wrong.
There was no drive. Running in mud. We know it's a fantastic pitch, but. There's too many dead runs. Sonny got reverted to his old self. He couldn't, he was tripping over himself and getting out of position, offsides. The whole shebang, it was reverted to normal. It was like end of season. We can't do nothing about this anymore. And the other team, like many other teams have done this season, they said, we can take these. Thank you very much. And once they got the draw, I thought we're going to lose this. Just knew it. It's soul destroying, but I've seen it happen before. It's laughable, but sad.
It's a completely different team. I don't know what the fuck happened in the dressing room, but it's been the opposite of what's been happening lately. We've had the shit first half, and then Ryan Mason has a word, and they come out and play all right and play well and fight for it. Last couple of games, anyway. Liverpool game.
I think it was on Mason, to be honest. When they came out and started titting about, I said to myself, Mason should have done something at half time to keep this going because he hadn't, He thought, this is all right, we can leave it. He should have tweaked it somehow. I don't know what, but, And I thought
Ben Davies,
a good manager.
Ben Davies threw him under the bus, Kev, after the game. He said that at half time, Brentford tweaked a few things tactically and we weren't clever enough or we weren't quick enough to adapt or to respond or something like that, they said. And then, so it's kind of a bit of a diss on.
Yeah, I haven't read that, but that's
I don't think he threw him under the bus. I think that was obvious to everybody. They brought on a sub at half time, changed formation and everything. We didn't do fuck all. It's obvious to everybody that was watching, really. But do you know what? I don't blame Ryan Mason for that. He's
young. He's 31 years old.
He will be a good manager, but he needs a season down in the Championship or League One to kind of get that experience and go through everything that managers should go through. I don't think there's any pressure on him whatsoever. If it's me or you guys in there, we just have the most amount of fun with it because it doesn't matter, does it? Like, season's fucked already, so just ready, bring on Klinsmann or something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. It's somewhat unfair as well because it's not like he looks around and he's got Pele, Maradona, and Zidane on the bench to bring on and try and change it. Is he? He's like he looks around and he's like, "Fuck me, whoever I put on is going to weaken the team pretty much, isn't it?" So,
although what he should have done was bring on Defoe after his hat trick the other day. Hey.
He's still sharp, isn't he?
Defoe.
Who's it? Where? What?
not seen
Where?
You not see the Spurs Legends game?
Oh no, I missed it.
Ah, it's so good. Good.
Was Canute
Sunday.
playing?
Don't.
No, Kabul was there though. Kabul. Yeah.
Andre.
How is Kabul a legend? And Canute? Well, I suppose Kabul.
Huddleston was there, wasn't he?
3-2.
Huddleston, Keno.
Right.
Who else was there? I think. But did Berbatov? No, Berbatov was supposed to play, but he didn't turn up.
Funny that.
It was a good team.
Your Man United game.
Ledley played. Dawson played. Ledley, Dawson as well.
Yeah.
Danny Rose played.
Hang on a minute, I'll have to Google that name.
I think he's still playing, isn't he? Really, he's only 31, 32, so technically he's still a professional footballer.
Well, there was rumours about him going to Wrexham.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But then again, all of the players who are just about to retire who used to play in the Premiership, they've all been linked with Wrexham. So this will probably be a very short section of the show, but
Who got the official one? Do we know who got the official man of the match?
I can double check. This is
Bueno.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Even though Ben Mee should have got it, really.
Yeah,
I'm
good.
check to see which Spurs player was
sticking his
rated
head in the
the
way.
highest.
Probably Kane, I'd say, wasn't it, just for the free kick? And he
Kulusevski.
What is that, BBC or the Sun or something?
And no, this is an app called FootMob that I use, which is
I got that one.
pretty good. But yeah, Kulusevski was 7.9, Kane was 7.5, Son was 7.2, Skip. I'd like to come on to that as well. Skip definitely wasn't man of the match. He looked half decent in the first half.
Yeah, he's doing what he does best, leaving no quarter behind, going in, running 20 yards, and, getting that ball on the sideline, sliding in there, winning the ball, getting up, delivering it, and just the Skippy we all know and love.
What happened in the second half?
The same as everybody else, completely, it's like schizophrenic, isn't it? Like completely.
Jekyll and Hyde, I'm just looking at 62% to 38% for us and 22 shots versus 11. So what does that tell you? It's like it was all us, but in the wrong places at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Seen it happen so many times this year.
I just felt sorry for him because I knew they'd go on Twitter and that people would go in on him, wouldn't they, and start slagging him off and stuff.
How old is he now? 21, 22?
22.
Yeah. So, he's definitely got his best years ahead of him, whether that be with us or not. I'm not sure if Mr. Levy might try to cash in on it so he can buy some more NFL memorabilia, hang on his wall.
Or some more gold cards.
He's homegrown, isn't he? So I think he'll keep him. That's probably one of the reasons he wants to keep Dyer, just because he's a homegrown player and it helps us fill our roster of homegrown, doesn't it? Is Dyer actually homegrown with his Portuguese background?
No, I don't think he is. But I was going to say, even if he is homegrown, he's like homegrown weed. He's shit. So anyway, Alan, would you buy Kulu now? We did actually discuss that a little bit earlier. But I don't think we really
have an answer, do we? I definitely
really have
would.
an answer.
Definitely.
You say definitely.
Definitely.
I'm really sat on the fence for this one. What do you think, Simon?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for us to answer because we know we've seen him on top form and we've seen him now. But if Alan, what you're saying is, if we went to the match yesterday as a scout or a manager, watched Kulu, would we buy him now? Then, well, hang on. It does depend, Alan, what team you're talking about, isn't it? Like, if you're talking about Spurs, then probably not, because he'd shop around for, somebody. He might not need to fill that side of thing. I don't think we need to fill that side of thing with the players we've got out on loan and stuff. We can bring Spence and Hill back and fill that slot. So probably not, no.
There's also the added possibility that all the deals that Paratici did might be under investigation. So there might be an element of Levy going, we don't want bomb off any deals that Paratici had his fingers on, get rid of that one, send them back, kind of thing, so it doesn't, blow back on us, because they're investigating all the deals, aren't they? The Paratici did.
Yeah. So out of the two, because we've definitely signed Bentancur, haven't we? Or have we?
Yeah.
Was he on loan, or was he? He was 15 million or something, wasn't he?
Oh yes, there was there was talk of that, wasn't
there?
You got me.
Let's have a look.
Right.
It's Wikipedia.
Bentancur is so important to this team. Like, I do vaguely remember him and Hill being in the team, and what an amazing midfield that was. What an amazing combination, creative combination they were together. But even Bentancur on his own it's like having Eriksen back. Do you know what I mean? He's just gives himself the time and space to pick out an amazing cross or amazing pass through and everything. But he's I think he can be better than Eriksen in the sense of, he's got remember Dombele's kind of like turning circle and stuff where, he's this day and age, players are on you straight away, but he can get out of that and still do an amazing pass and stuff. I think it's so important because Harry Kane is doing that for us, those amazing cross switch balls, and he can do that. So we need him in there to cover Kane and other players. He's worth 2 or 3 other players that we've got at the minute.
The good news is he's ours. He joined us on an undisclosed fee. Yeah, he's a permanent transfer.
Yes.
What you said, Simon, about Moussa Dembele, I wouldn't compare him to Eriksen. I don't think he has that the ball that Eriksen does. But he's like Moussa Dembele to me, is that he can keep the ball. No one can get it off him.
Receives it in tight areas as well, doesn't he? He doesn't care if he's being marked. He can take it and then come away from someone which breaks their press, and it's very important, isn't it? As we saw with Dembele for those years.
Absolutely, and he's a good-looking fucker as well. So.
Yeah, bastard. Got it all, wasn't he? Professional footballer and a good-looking lad.
Actually, we hate him. Let's get rid of him.
Yeah. More people like skipping the team with his Damsgaard hair. He came on yesterday, didn't he, Jens? And the wind blew, and his hair, his fringe went whoosh back to the back of his head, didn't it?
He's only like 23 or something. Then again, I used to go to school with a bloke who was going bald when he was 15. So
yeah, me too. Yeah.
Who was that?
At Clement Danes. His name was Darren Maggs. I think he was from Mill End in Rickmansworth. But yeah, poor bloke was going bald when he was like in the third year or something. So
the stress of going to school with you.
Probably the stress of living in Mill End. Okay, so we didn't actually get around to this. Who would you give man of the match to?
Oh, fuck me.
To be honest, it was probably only for the 45 minutes.
Yeah, for the 45 minutes for me, Ben Davies. MOTH. Yeah, man and a half. Ben Davies for me. Superb. We consider like he's been with us. I don't know if he's been with us as long as Dyer has or those kind of people, but he hasn't got that malaise of Dyer and all that kind of stuff of just like being crap because he's been here too long. He kind of almost reinvents himself every game and just goes for it. And yeah, he makes mistakes, which when you're at left back can be costly. But he going forward, he's amazing, and he does those balls, and he's still got decent pace. He just reinvents himself all the time, and it's exactly what you need from a player who's been there. He's an example to Dyer and any other player that's been there that long. He's fantastic, and but again, I don't know what happened second half.
Yeah. But he's definitely he divides opinion among Spurs fans, like a few others, but he's definitely up there. I've always liked him. I've always thought he was a hard worker. And what you say that he redevelops himself, whereas Eric Dyer just seems to think well, as far as I can see, he just seems to think he's made it and he's happy to just sit there in his mediocrity.
Yeah, he's got the Ronaldo complex, and he Dyer. Like I'm been here that long. I've been playing the game that long, and I'm the best. No, actually, you're shit compared to everybody else. So nobody's got the balls to give him a wake up call. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think that the news that we're offering him a new contract is just press talk, or do you think there's some substance in that?
Well, I haven't heard anything for about a week, I think. So, I mean, I'm not a big fan of rumors anyway. So, I've got like one or two sources that I listen to, but even they're not 100%. So I never really, I'm like, take it with
catch up an HP.
Yeah.
Ben Davies or Dyer? Are you on about here?
Dyer. Sorry.
Well, the talk is that's already been done, but they daren't answer it because they'll announce it because they'll just get crucified, won't they?
Yeah.
They shouldn't be giving him a new deal because they haven't got a director of football or manager in place. So he's making decisions like that on the playing staff. Yeah. Should be up to the manager and the director of football, not other people.
Yeah. Okay, so Simon says Ben Davies. What would you say, Kev?
Well, I'd say I tend to agree with that, but I think if Emerson Royale's header went in the first half, I think I'd have given it to him, but unfortunately it never went in. So that header he had, it was saved on the line by, was it Ben? No, I don't think it was Ben Mead that time, was it? No.
That was a good move, wasn't it? That was a good move. That little back heel from Cooley into left channel there.
Smashing good move. Yeah, the whole move was great. And Royale was enjoying himself. Emerson Royale was enjoying himself as well. You could see the glee on his face and everything, and he was fully up for it and everything. And it all went tits up in the second half. The game of two halves once again with Spurs.
Or as my sister said, Kev, why is that Emerson Royale always smiling? He's rubbish. I was like, he's enjoying himself at least, isn't he? He's just going around the pitch. Yeah.
Was that Zoe who said that? Or?
Yeah.
Big up Zoe if you're watching.
Why is he always smiling? He's rubbish. He's living the dream. He's playing in Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League, and he can't kick a ball, can he? He'd be lucky to get in Wycombe Wanderers. He wouldn't get in at Wycombe Wanderers. I said to her yesterday, to be honest, we've got better players at Wycombe Wanderers than him. He's rubbish.
Yeah, true.
Back in Fenway.
Please listen. No, we have actually got players better than Dyer, like even Tafazoli, who's
yep, I'd agree with that.
He's injured at the minute. When he's on form, he's much better. Even Anthony Stewart, who left us, abandoned us for Aberdeen a couple of years ago, and is now down at MK in Dons.
He's not as easy. Did he come back down? Oh dear.
Yeah. And they've just got relegated.
Franchise.
Yeah, they've. He's a better. There's a lot of talk amongst Wigan fans about would we take Anthony Stewart back, and I think we probably would. And it's he's a better defender, and that's the thing with with that most of that back line. Like I always compare it to Wigan because obviously it's my hometown team, but it's you put Dyer in there, he would get a game probably 1 in 3 games because of the players we've already got. You put Royale in there, probably even less because of the players we've got. And that's the thing. The difference is the hunger of players in League One and maybe the Championship as well means that they perform better one-on-one. If you were literally to just pit them against each other and watch a parallel game, if you could do that, you'd rate the League One players better on a defensive point of view because they've still got that old school kind of like desire of like, and that's the thing. Don't forget in the Premier League, there's no promotion, is there? So there's that hunger that's there as well. So Wycombe just missed out on the playoffs this season because Gareth Ainsworth abandoned us. And the only reason there's a good thing about that is the only reason Wycombe didn't make the playoffs is because of circumstances that happened outside of our control. Gareth Ainsworth left. Alfie Mawson, best defender, not only just in League One, but probably in 3 leagues, was always playing with an injury, but just couldn't go on anymore with a really, really bad injury. And
it's that Swansea, Alfie Mawson.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Swansea. And, we had like major injuries that would just, slowly dropped us down. But the that hunger and desire that's there week in, week out is what we need to see from the Premier League, and it's not there because there's no such thing as promotion, and because a team like Spurs are probably now not ever going to get relegated. Although
famous last words.
Yeah,
Simon.
without
What have you done? What have you done? What have you done?
Kiss of death.
But to be honest, the players in League One, they got mortgages to pay, they got families to feed.
Yeah,
Players in the Premiership got so much money they don't know what to do with it. So,
on that subject, I was thinking on the way in to actually, Kev, you were obviously following Spurs when we got relegated that season. The current sort of state and atmosphere around the club at the moment, and compared to that year, what's it? Is it comparable or?
It was so bad we had to laugh at it. It was you couldn't not laugh at it, because if you didn't laugh, you'd cry. It was a mismatch of players. They're all cobbled together, and they were making mistakes after mistakes every week. And how they turned out, you had a hardcore of good players there that were still going, like Johnny Pratt and players like that. We had Barry Daines in goal. And, he was supposed to be better than him. Huh?
who was the manager?
We had Terry Neal.
Terry
Neal walked out, and then you had Berkenshaw took over. Yeah, he took us. We stayed up the first year, and then he went down, but we came back by the skin of our teeth. Actually, it's we led that division, the second division, for a long, long time. But true to form, Spurs tailed off in the last few games, and this is the second division now. That's kind of getting off a bit subject. But when we had the likes of draws home and away to Mansfield Town. And you'll go on a promotion run, home and away to Mansfield. It's like, but
didn't we beat
when we were getting relegated
9-1 or something?
Yeah. No, that was that? Yeah. I missed that game because I was actually working that day, believe it or not. Because I was working on a bus.
Gets in the way of everything, doesn't it, Kev?
Yeah, I know. But it was, the crowds were terrible.
Really?
Very sparse, with like 20,000 in the ground and stuff like that, and most of them were moaners as well. I mean, we just sit down on the concrete terracing and just laugh, at the stuff Spurs were doing, because it was Keystone Cops in football shirts, It's calamity after calamity after calamity, But you had to laugh at it, because you couldn't do anything else.
Was it the same group of players that got us promoted, Kev, or did they
more or less
bring people in? Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. It was more or less the core of it, yeah.
I know Steve Perriman said that he had offers to leave, but he said, look, I was captain when we got relegated. I'm responsible for this. I need to get us back up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
He said I could have left, but I felt responsible for leading us down, so it was my responsibility to lead us back up again.
Wasn't that just when Glenn Hoddle was coming through as well?
He came through in 75, 76, something like that, yeah. He was class. You knew he was class from the day he first walked on the pitch.
Yeah.
He was the highlight of being in all them games, because you knew he could turn it on in that game, He was a superstar before his time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had to laugh.
But comparable to now, Kev, what was the atmosphere like? Was it worse that year we went down than now? Because I can't remember any time when morale and.
See, there was no internet then in them days, So there was no there was no sort of transfer talk, because we didn't know. If a player was bought, it turned up, and the Evening Standard would say, yes, Spurs signed so and so. That was it. There was no what's going on.
I was just trying to point down to Alan's thing.
Oh, right.
Sorry.
Yeah. But we had the likes of John Duncan, Alfie Conn,
Chris Jones.
Who?
Chris Jones, wasn't it? Wasn't he
Was
the one?
he in there?
Wasn't he
He
the
was
one?
there or thereabouts at that
Bristol?
time, yeah.
Yeah.
Colin Lee and all them. Oh, it's like the old guard had died. We had a good team in the 70, well, running on from the 67 Cup final. You had Kinnear, Knowles, Jennings and all that. They're all come to the end of their time. So by the time we got to 74, when Billy Nick retired after the Fiorentina debacle, it was all falling apart. And it hadn't been replaced. It was just Spurs are Spurs. They're too good to go down. Man United went down in 74, which was a bit of a face saver for us, because we went down 2 years later, and it wasn't so bad because, well, at least Man United, champions of Europe have been relegated. So it's not such a shame, you know what I mean? Even though it was a shame.
Was there any air of optimism at the beginning of that next season in Division 2? or was it still like, oh, this could
It
get
was
worse?
always thought
This
you were going to
shambles
come
still?
straight back up, you know. But even from the start of that season, we were throwing away silly points like Spurs do. Played up in Bolton, and Peter Reeve scored a 90th minute winner. You know, so there you go. We'd gone toe to toe with the game, and the usual Spurs failing, let a goal in the last minute, and that this sort of happened early in the season, maybe September, October. But they're the sort of crucial events that catch up on you at the end of the season. You know, game you should have drawn, game you should have won, and then we're scampering to get up on the last day of the season. You know, at Southampton. You know, it shouldn't have been like that. We should have been streets ahead of everybody, but we stumbled across the line in the end. You know, and that's the way it was. That's what I've always expected ever since. You know, but it was a regeneration. You know, it was like a rebirth. You know, and came up because as soon as we came up, we brought Ozzy and Ricky. Yeah. 78.
Interesting turn of events, wasn't it? If we'd have stayed in Division 1, it'd be interesting to see if we'd nearly got relegated, if Hoddle would have got as much game time as he'd have had when we got relegated, and then the need to regenerate the squad when we did get re-promoted, when we brought in VR and our dealers, whether that would have happened if we'd have stayed up that season and skin of our teeth. So everything happens for a reason, doesn't it?
Yeah. But the people around the club, I think, were still the Wales in that. It was the Wales, Sid Wales and his brother. They're the people that owned the club. It was all. The only news you got of Spurs was in the newspapers a few days later. There was no news of any transfer. We're going to go out and buy this. We're looking at that, and there was no forums or anything like that. It was just you chat with your mates after the game, and you get snippets of information here. But there was no like it is now. Everything's out in the open, and takeover bids and everything else. You know. And it went from worse to worse. I mean, even when we were winning the cups in the early 80s, then you had the management there that were doing dirty deeds and selling off the training ground and looking for money and got their fingers in too many pies to earn money and nearly bankrupted the club. You know, they wanted to take over the ticketing operations for the whole of the first division with these like a sort of ticket master sort of operations. You know, you know, places like QPR were using the Tottenham system to sell their own tickets, you know, and it all went tits up, and then there was the kits and everything else. There were fingers in every bit of pies, you know. And
was that the Waleses or was that Scholar?
That's Scholar, and his mate Georgiou, and it was Alexi Georgiou or something. That was They just they were using it as a.
Kev didn't he said when the businessmen are making decisions that affect the football side, that's when you got problems, isn't it?
Yeah.
And look at it now. How what a prophecy that was from Brian Clough.
Yeah.
Well, that's when Birkinshaw said that famous thing about there used to be a football club there because they turned it into a business. They were in fingers in every bit of pie they shouldn't have been in, you know, just to make money.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
So moving swiftly on to that.
Oh, yeah.
Businessman of the century.
Which century though? Last century or this one?
Did you see yesterday when we were 3-1 down and there was a video of his wife patting him on the leg to say, "Don't worry, Daniel, they're not the only ones who think you're a cunt."
Yeah. That was after the Levy out chance as well. It erupted around the stadium, and then they cut to him, and his wife gave him the little rub on the penile, didn't she, to let him know tonight's.
Don't listen to them, dear. Don't listen to them.
Yeah, don't listen to them. They don't know.
She does when he can't get a stiffy as well. So you know.
What does Donna Cullen call us? Insects, doesn't she? The insects have got no idea.
Seriously? Wow.
Yeah, there's a quote of her saying, "Oh, they're just insects. They're irrelevant. They're irrelevant. Don't listen to them. They're irrelevant." Bint. It's her club, isn't it? It's not our club. It's her club. She, you know.
Yeah. I hope she's having an affair on him. I hope she catches an STD.
What's Tom up to? We could send him in.
Sorry,
hi,
bro.
Tom. Hi, Tom, if you're watching. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. So, what do you think's going to happen? How long has it been? We've been waiting for a manager now and a director of football. Is it 50 odd days? We haven't quite hit the record yet, have we?
About 8 weeks or so, yeah. No sign of anything. Yeah.
And obviously, you know, he's probably still paying off Mourinho, Nuno, and now Conte. So he's going to think, oh, hang on a minute, I've got this bloke who manages the under-21s or coaches the under-21s. He's cheap as chips, so that means I can save some money.
Till the end of May, at least, yeah.
Yeah,
and it'll be the end of June.
I feel a bit. I do feel sorry for Ryan Mason. I think he's a real Spurs boy, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have what it takes just yet. He may do in the next few years if, as was mentioned earlier, he gets some management experience in the Championship or League One or something like that. But where is the plan? Is there a plan? Or is it just, we've got Beyonce coming up, just fob them off with something else? NFL will be here 3 times next season. We'll have Guns N' Roses back. We'll blah, 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 blah. I think they're having the biggest Nigerian rapper or something is going to perform there. Where is there actually a plan for this football club, or is it literally they don't care about the football anymore?
I think it's no coincidence, like I said to you yesterday, Jens, that the renewals are down and everyone's leaving and saying when they're not going to renew and they're going to cancel their membership, and then he's leaked out Nagelsmann news again. I think the deadline's 1st of June, isn't it? Or around about next week, yeah.
Yeah,
and it's just it's bullshit to get people. Oh, Nagelsmann might be coming. Oh, I better renew in case Nagelsmann does come in and I miss out on it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's I wanted to talk a little bit about that as well. My season ticket. I sent an email yesterday, which I've been meaning to do for a while. It wasn't just on a whim after the poor result yesterday. To say I'd like to cancel my season ticket, but I still have 275 quid on the account, which you can't take out. I think it's 3 or 4
you can't.
Before.
Yeah, I've tried mine as well.
Yeah. Let me just see. I find this bloody email. Just a moment. Talk amongst yourselves, chaps.
2 seconds.
You've gone away.
Simon's done a run. It's up to me and you, Kev, to keep this thing going. Look. It's falling on our shoulders.
What I don't want to see is we get into mid-August, September, and we still haven't got a manager, because that's the way Levy operates. And not half the season's done, obviously, but the great start of the season is buggered up straight away, and you're playing catch up for the rest of the, till Christmas.
Yeah.
And he uses it as an excuse, doesn't he, Kev? Oh, well, the manager didn't come in late, so we couldn't buy players, and all the best players are gone now, so we're going to have to wait till January. Oh, no, we're going to have to... He uses it.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's made himself accountable, which is a good thing. He said, he brought Sean Mullen in, not as a director of football, more like a chief operating officer, so that he can look after all the football side of things and that he can step away. So he's made himself accountable by saying that. So we can hold him to that. And the most important thing, the thing is, because as he said earlier, like he's on gardening leave, we need a director of football well before we need a manager.
We can't wait till July.
we can't appoint one because he's not thinking. So it's going to have to be, it's either bring him off gardening leave early, or Daniel Levy's got to find a director of football, and we don't trust him to do director of football. You look at business decisions he makes, which have always been crap, even right up to this week. One Hotspur membership going up by 16%.
Yeah,
for fuck all, for no reason, for literally no reason whatsoever. Like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you purposely piss off people? You hardly get anything with a One Hotspur membership anyway. Why put it up? Yeah,
This is. I sent an email to these guys yesterday saying, "Hello, I will not be renewing my season ticket for next season. I will still be buying a membership. How do I change this and get the £265 I have on my account transferred onto there? I would like to keep my client reference number." And then I put it down. Now I have 2 memberships on that email address. So I have mine and Olivia's. Yeah. And so they responded to Olivia. So they didn't even bother to check if Olivia has a season ticket. I bloody hope she doesn't, because that's going to come out anyway. And they responded to, but they didn't even call her Olivia. They called her Alex.
What?
So It's like, hello, Jens. Thank you for your response. The final account cashback window of this season is closed, blah, blah, blah. As Alex will not renew, the cashback facility will reopen again online once the renewal window has closed on the 1st of June. This window should reopen sometime in June or July time, but I'd keep an eye on the webpage.
It's a lot like the football team, isn't it? Like getting a name right is a basic thing. And if you can't do the basics of what you're supposed to do, you shouldn't be doing the job. You should not get plenty of people on the dole who want that job that can do a better job than you. Get the fuck out.
I have a feeling it was the guy's name's Marvin. I hope it's not the one on View from the Shelf or View from the Park Lane or whatever. But it's as John said earlier, if Donna Cullen is calling us insects,
there's no respect for the customers. Yeah, it's the only business in the world where you don't respect your customers, isn't it? Because they know they've got a captive audience because we're emotionally connected to it, so they can treat us as they want us, call us what they want, and we'll come running back because they're only current incumbents, aren't they?
Yeah.
Thing is, I don't mind them making football and being creative with the stadium and using it for go-karting and whatever else. It's fine. Just keep it separate from the football. Don't let it affect the football. That's fine. Do you know what I mean? It's in modern day and age, you need to be creative, make money. There's nothing wrong with making money. It's just like, don't pretend you're doing like you're interested in football and you're not. You just make your money and fine. You get a free ticket to a game. That's the only time you want to see it. It's your only involvement is to sit in those nice, comfy black chairs and just watch the game. You know, don't do anything else.
As one of the banners says, Simon, they know the cost of everything but the value of nothing.
Yeah, exactly that. And little details like that, like getting a name right. You know, those are the things that make the difference long term. But they can't see that.
To be honest,
20 years of it now, though, isn't it? It's 20 years of this going on, you know, just
Spurs customer service has always been shit.
Yeah.
But if your head of public relations is calling her customers insects, wow. This is another case of I pay your fucking wages, love.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Okay, so moving swiftly on. Any transfer news?
There shouldn't be any because we haven't got a fucking manager. It should be up to the manager to choose the players, nobody else.
Yeah. Did you see Mundell wants that? He's not signing the contract.
Yes.
I did. Yeah.
Can't blame him.
No, me neither.
Michael Moore stays. That's what we want.
Yeah, well, Moore and Devine, I think, and a lot of people are saying that they reckon Donnelly's going to be the next best thing as well. I can't say that I've watched every match this season, but I've watched it a fair few times. The under-18s and the under-21s. I don't think Donnelly's really stood out for me, but yeah, I got a proper hammering on Spurs community the other day when I stated that I didn't think he was going to that he was going to make it. But I also said that Devine and Mikey Moore, they look great, but we know how slim the chances are of them actually making the first thing.
Yeah.
We have to remember Harry Kane though, because he didn't really stand out in the youth teams. Apparently, he wasn't really outstanding, and he kind of blossomed, didn't he? Later, all his loans, yeah,
that's true. So, anyway, what John said, manager news.
I think we should grab Thomas Frank.
Really?
Yeah, because the whole Nagelsmann debacle, is he in, is he out, and then Spurs putting out a fucking statement saying, "Oh, we weren't actually talking to him anyway." It's like, don't say that, man. Like, ugh. I think that if you're a top flight like Arne Slot or any of those, you're looking at that like, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot barge pole. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Thomas Frank, you look at him and you think like he'll be bursting to leave. I think. Thomas Frank, because there's not much he's going to do with Brentford this season, but what he's done has been excellent. Nobody's heard of Brentford before Thomas Frank came in and put in manager before that as well. And it's like what they've done with very limited funds compared to most is brilliant. So he'll be looking to get to a club. It's like, right, I want to go to the next level, do exactly the same, but with more funds, I can do more. Yeah, that's what he's going to say in the interview, isn't it? Like, yeah, I can do more. I can do what I've done at Brentford, but do, 3 times better because I've got more money. And even at Spurs, he'd have more money. So, I think we should get him. And it's a long-term player. I know it's not going to be popular amongst Spurs fans because they're used to having the big names like the Conte and all that kind of stuff, but Mourinho and what have you. But that's not what we need.
No, fuck them. I think the day that we hired Mourinho was the day that Uncle Daniel thought that he'd made it, and he was expecting
everybody loved him,
kissing his ass. The thing that worries me about Thomas Frank is his football. They do play a lot of long ball.
Different players though, like you can't do that with unless you keep Dyer, then which nobody in their right mind would. You look at Romero, and he can play long ball and all that kind of stuff. He delivers a decent ball, but he's not that type of player. So he's doing what Thomas Frank has done, what he can with the players that he's got. And I think he do, like I said, about 3 or 4 times better with our players because we know how good our players are, and we've got 90% of that squad is when they're on fire. We can beat anybody. Well, we did. We beat Man City with the players that we've got. So, I think he can just from a long-term strategic point of view. It depends what we want, doesn't it? Like, I don't think we'll win the league next season all of a sudden. But what we want to do is be like, okay, well, let's aim for 4th and the FA Cup. And then the next season, right, let's aim for 3rd, the FA Cup, and a decent run in Champions League. And just build it up. And I think he's got the stability within himself. He seems sure of himself. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think the match yesterday, the Brentford match, but I think Ryan Mason cares too much about Spurs. There's one point where he's walking along the sideline, like second half. This was obviously before when we played shit, and he just had his shaking his head like that, just in his and we love him for that because that's what we liked about Conte. He cares a lot and is passionate about it. And Ryan Mason got himself booked because he cares so much. But at the same time, we want to rein that back in a bit and go, we want a Thomas Frank kind of like regal kind of stature where it's like, right, I know what I'm doing. And you can see Thomas Frank constantly turning around going, right, give me data on this, give me stats on this. How's so-and-so doing? How's so-and-so doing? And like constantly looking like, right, let's do it. And wasn't afraid to make that change at half time. You know what I mean? When was the last time anybody did a sub at half time?
Mourinho.
Well, yeah.
But I think, to be honest, I'm more leaning towards Slot because of the football that he plays. But Thomas Frank probably has what we need as a club. He has a master's in psychology. And as a club, ever since I've been supporting them, we've had this weak underbelly. I feel that the players and the team and the management and the chairman, they've never been that confident that we can go all the way. Look at that team in the 80s. I mean, Jesus Christ, from 81 to 84, we had a shit hot team. And we probably should have won the league. Was it 83, 84, Kev? But then we had all these postponements.
85, 87. Yeah.
And all these postponements due to the weather and, having to play Everton after, what was it, three games in a week or something like that.
Yeah. And the original game was due just after Christmas, but it was snow on the ground. So it was cancelled. Yeah.
You know what we actually need from that team? We need your best mate, Jens, Gary Mabbott. That's what we need. I'd love to have a Gary Mabbott right now. Yeah,
so would I. Yeah, me and him, we're proper tight.
Yeah, man.
Good. We even named a lounge after him, didn't we, at the White Lion?
Sorry?
We even named a lounge after him up the White Line. Yeah,
Have
Gary
you been in
Mabbutt
the White
Lounge.
Line recently? God,
I have, yeah. It's all changed, isn't it? Very posh.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm.
There was a couple in there having dinner or something, or Sunday evening
Salutations, yes.
Yeah, and we were stood at the bar, and this guy was like, "Oh, get out of my way, I want to go to the toilet." It's like, this is a pub. People stand at the bar, but
As my friend Kelvin used to say, it's a pub, not a library. Someone asked him to keep it quiet once. He's like, it's a pub, not a library. Yeah.
Going back to Alan's comment just down there, like, I don't think we'd appeal to Frank at the minute. I think that applies to a lot of managers, but also at the same time, I think you can apply that to Arne Slot and Nagelsmann and all that. But I think with Thomas Frank, because he's clever, he'll be like, I want to do the same again next season as I've done with Brentford, and then everybody's impressed with us and all that. But I want to go the next level up, and I think Spurs is, despite this season, I think Spurs is the next level up from Brentford.
Look at the stadium.
Because he's not going to walk into like Liverpool or anything, but Spurs is that kind of like next step up for Thomas Frank. I think he knows that.
Yeah.
Aston Villa probably the same. I think. Although actually, no, I think on player wise, we've got better players than Aston Villa. I think.
Who in their right mind, ambitious managers would want to manage us? If you think about it, I think that's a lot of the frustration in the fan base is that Levy's made it such a poison chalice. If he's not going to back Mourinho, he's not going to back Conte, he's not going to back Thomas Frank, he's not going to back your Dutch guy, is he? So it's a waste of time. Whoever comes in, it's essentially the whole club's broken at the top, isn't it? So it doesn't matter who comes in, they're not going to succeed because the guy at the top's not going to give them the tools they need to do the job. I think that's where all the frustration in the fan base comes from. When he fouled Conte, he fouled us. There was a final nail in the coffin, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So the only people that are going to come now are going to come for a payday, aren't they? They're going to be here for a year or two, and they know they're going to get sacked because Levy's not going to back them. They're going to get a payday.
Well, there is an element of that, but like again, if you get people like Thomas Frank who are more intelligent than like the headline, look beyond the headlines, you see that. I mean, I said ages ago we do need to change the chairman before we change the manager, because you look back at him, Mourinho, like him or love him, Mourinho. Sacking Mourinho before the cup final was just the stupidest thing to do in the world. And you look at that as a manager and you think, I don't want that to happen to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Waste my time. Why waste my time?
Why not? They make an absolute fortune on payoffs.
Money,
if we don't work elsewhere.
If we're in the FA Cup final, right, and we lose like 2 or 3 games before that 2 or 3 league games before the FA Cup final, I'm probably going to get the sack. That's just, you just wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot barge pole. Yeah. But that's what you're on about there again is like the Postecoglou's and the Arne Slots and stuff like that and the Nagelsmanns. Yeah, absolutely, they wouldn't. But they're, again, that's it's the same thing, like you said earlier, and cycle and repeat. That's the same as Conte, it's the same as Mourinho. But we shouldn't be looking towards those kind of managers anyway. What we should be looking is at the Thomas Franks and
young.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just
hungry,
a level head on their shoulders. Do you know what I mean?
What do you think, Kev?
Well, but this might sound a bit, I don't know, off, but Yaya Toure from below, is he not experienced enough? No?
Yeah. I thought you were going to say Sam Allardyce.
No. No. He'll be at West Ham next if Moyes gets the sack when they lose the final.
Proper naughty, mate. Proper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think
I always remember Liverpool promoting Kenny Dalglish from within, didn't they? In these days of social media, everyone be like, he's got no experience. Exactly, yeah. They promoted him from within. He didn't do too badly, did he? He had no experience at the lower leagues, did he? Mm-hmm. He didn't do too badly when he came in.
Yeah, I think if you've got the right head on your shoulders, which I think Yaya Toure certainly seems to, it's
I'm looking at what company's done up at Burnley, obviously.
Mm.
Sorry?
What company's done up at Burnley, you know what I mean? So they're the same mould, aren't they, kind of thing?
Company would be ideal in the same kind of bracket as Thomas Frank, but he's never going to leave Burnley, is he?
No, he signed a new deal now, hasn't he, Simon? They signed an extension. Yeah, he signed an extension. Said he's staying. He wants to see his job through into the Premier League, so he's staying.
Fair dues. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
I can't think of anyone. I'm just looking all around Europe. We've had one from everywhere so far, I think. So, Portuguese, Japanese, Chinese.
As our Dutch football expert, Jens, what's this guy like, the Feyenoord guy?
Well, he's a cockroach, as the Ajax fans call Feyenoord players and fans, etc. I don't know an awful lot about him apart from that he's absolutely torn this league apart this year. There's just, Ajax have definitely been on a bit of a transitional season, and so have PSV, but they're still very good teams. But Feyenoord has just been absolutely brilliant. Sorry, I hate to say that.
What kind of a character is he? Is he cocky like Mourinho or arrogant?
He's a bit of a joker. He speaks brilliant English, and he's bald as a coot, so he gets my vote.
I obviously want Thomas Frank. We've got the same there.
I'd like to see him because he plays attacking football, and I think we've obviously been missing that for the last, since Pochettino left. I have to say,
you seem to have your reservations. Yeah, you seem to have your reservations. I can tell from your face. There's something about him that you've got reservations about.
I was very keen on Mourinho coming in because I thought, he's a winner and etc. But the football that he played was just, let's score in the first 10 minutes and defend for the next 80. With the team that we had, with the defenders that we have, you can't do that.
No.
That is, years ago. I'm not sure that Slot has enough experience yet. But then again, what experience did Martin Jol have? As you were saying, Kenny Dalglish, what experience did he have? It's all very hit and miss, isn't it? It's a possibility he'd be great. It's a possibility he could be another Wendy Ramos. But then again, he won us a cup, so I'd take that over anything.
I think the experience doesn't matter. Look at the last two managers. Experience doesn't matter. Yeah. But coming into Spurs is a different kettle of fish, isn't it? Like to everywhere else. So it just doesn't matter. It's you either get rid of the chairman and have the director of football running things, and then we can get like the likes of Nagelsmann and Slot and what have you. Or failing that, get Thomas Frank in, because even with the tight grip that Levy's got on the purse strings, that kind of manager like Thomas Frank will have more money than they did before, and they'll be able to do more. So, it's one or the other, because we can't have another Mourinho Conte thing whilst Levy's in charge. We've
got Nuno to go through first, Simon. We've got our new Nuno before we get into those ones.
Nora.
I think it's devil's in the detail, because it's a vicious circle. Which if you don't appoint a decent enough manager, Harry Kane's going to walk. So
I think he's gone already.
I can't remember if I've said this before, but it's not. It'd be amazing if Kane stayed, and I think the more time goes on, the less likely he is that he's going. But let's say he does go. Controversial point. I'd love to get your thoughts on it, lads. Kane goes, Son goes.
We're fucked.
Do you think Son will go? Because they're the best partnership in the Premier League ever. Fact.
If both of them go, where's the goal going to come from?
If you're Son, right, and let's say Liverpool scrape together what would it cost? 150 million. Come to Daniel Levy and say, I want Kane and Son. There you go. Here's 150 million. Obviously, that fast forward 2 months, because that's how long it would take Levy to do negotiations for another 150 million pounds and 50 pence.
And a packet of crisps.
And a packet of crisps and a Twix. And they get them. Like, Son would go. Like, Kane just has to say to Son, look, I'm going to Liverpool. Come with us. Let's win a trophy. Son would go.
I think their commercial value to the club's worth much more than that, though, isn't it? All the Korean fan base and market that they bring in, or people buying merchandise and memberships and stuff, they'd lose all of that, wouldn't he? So I don't think there's a price that anyone could pay that would make him sell Son, to be honest.
When's his contract up? Do you know?
He signed a new one, didn't he, last summer?
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he signed an extension 3 or 4 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So he's
Bizarrely.
basically.
I heard this morning that Klopp might be walking at the end of the season.
Who? Sorry.
I heard rumours that Klopp might be walking at the end of the season this morning.
I think he's lost it. I saw his interview yesterday. He looks like he's been stood on the street corner in Tottenham puffing on some rocks or something. He is off his nut.
How did they get on? How'd they get on yesterday? I didn't even see. Did they win or lose? Or
1-1.
Yeah, Villa missed the penalty. Villa were the better team from what I saw on.
Yeah, 100th minute equaliser or something, didn't they?
Yeah.
98th minute equaliser or something like that.
Yeah.
I bet that went down well with him.
I think I've seen that from Liverpool before, growing up and stuff. They have an off season where their off season is where they're inconsistent. So they'll play brilliantly one week and then, should have lost against or do lose against teams like Villa the next. But that's okay, from an ownership point of view, or not an ownership point of view, but from a chairman point of view. You're like, okay, we'll come back next season. We'll have more consistency. I'll drum that into the manager. But like you say, with Klopp's interviews recently, you've got to be looking at that as Klopp's boss and going, whoo! I mean, bless him. It's a high-profile job. It takes its toll on you, and that manifests itself in different ways.
Burnout. Yeah.
Do you think Nagelsmann may go there?
I would, as well as Nagelsmann. Yeah, absolutely.
Would you take Klopp if Nagelsmann went to Liverpool?
I don't think the fans would like it.
No.
He's a twat, isn't he?
He is an absolute knobbin. Then again, I thought Mourinho was a twat as well. But Mourinho kind of has some endearing traits, but Klopp, I just can't see any of it. Just a arrogant. Can I say it? Yeah. Crowd.
Cancelled. We'll be cancelled. Funnily enough, Jens, I was speaking to my German friend the other day, and I was saying about the German people that I like. So Boris Becker, Stefan Freund, Jurgen Klinsmann. I was going through them all, and she goes, "You must like Jurgen Klopp." I said, "Good God, no! I can't stand the man. Cannot stand the man." She's a Jurgen Klopp fan. She used to support Dortmund, so
okay.
So we love Jurgen Klopp. I was like, I don't like the fella. I don't like the fella at all. When he goes up to the crowd at the end, giving all this, it's like all very fake, isn't it? When he's going up to the crowd and giving all that at the end, it's like.
And those teeth as well. Him and Bobby Firmino must have the same.
Watching him run across that touchline the other week and just like being in the face of like the fourth official. Yeah,
he got a ban for that, though, didn't he, Simon? He got a ban and a fine.
I'm watching him pull his hamstring. It was just brilliant.
Must have missed that.
Was he on the touchline yesterday? Because he's supposed to have got a ban and a fine. I don't know if it started already or he got banned for that incident that Simon's on about, where he went right up to the fourth official's face and pulled his hamstring.
Well, that's the thing. They need to stop managers doing that kind of stuff. The respect for the referee has been, I don't think it's ever been as low as it is now, especially with all this VAR rubbish and stuff. And when you've got managers doing it, then everybody else thinks, oh, well, why can't I do it?
I don't know what commentary you had yesterday, but Darren Fletcher made a good point. He said there was a incident where Tottenham had that break. It might have been the back heel that Kevin and Simon were about when we had the Emerson Royal header. And he said that they were looking at it for ages of VAR to see if a millimetre if it's offside. And he said that wasn't what the law was ever brought into play for, us to stop people standing on the goal line. It wasn't ever the whole idea of the rule wasn't to analyse a millimetre here or there. They've kind of gone somewhere along the line. They got completely lost with the offside rule, haven't they?
Yeah. That's crazy.
The spirit of the law has completely gone.
Okay, guys. Do we have any other news?
We should pay props to Serge Aurier, shouldn't we? Who had a great pipe at the Gooners last night.
He sure did, didn't he?
He was well up for it with what was it? I think Gabriel went in on one of the Forest players. I think it might have been Gibbs White, and then Serge walked up and it was just like, "Shut the fuck up, will you? Step back." And then Gabriel had a go at Serge, and he was like, I am going to kill you.
That deep voice is, I will kill you. I am from the suburbs of Paris.
Yeah, I miss that guy.
Can we?
Never thought I'd say that.
Not on the pitch, but
Exactly.
I don't know actually. Emerson or Aurier, it's not much of a difference, is there really? Aurier had a better delivery, didn't he? To be fair, if anything.
All day, yeah.
And he scored a few goals as well.
Yeah.
Emerson's never going to do that. But then again, I think Emerson's improved massively. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Next season, but.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think he was a bit mediocre yesterday, but obviously game before that he was superb. Absolutely.
Everybody
superb.
was mediocre yesterday.
Yeah, true. Can we? Is it all right if we just have a minute just to pay tribute to Lucas Moura, who?
Yeah, definitely.
Yesterday, I think what an amazing guy. We need another 11 Lucas Mouras really, with that attitude and that amount of passion and loyalty to Spurs. And you know, in my mind, still a good player. You know, still holds on, as we saw in the match against Brentford, still holds on to the ball too long. But you know, that kind of thing.
That's the winger, isn't it? That's the winger. That's what they do.
Yeah, it can easily be coached out of you, not a problem. But he just never really got the opportunity under the last couple of managers. Easily the best header of a ball, certainly we've ever had. One of the best headers of a ball in the Premier League, I think. Despite being
Great
short.
hang time. Great hang time.
I thought it was very, very sweet yesterday when he was wandering around the pitch, clapping the fans, having a bit of a weep. And I remember when he scored his first hat-trick for us against Huddersfield, or first hat-trick in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And he went into the crowd and he picked up this little baby. And then there was his son yesterday running alongside him as a toddler. I thought that was a really nice...
it was a beautiful moment, wasn't it? Because his baby kicked the ball over the goal line, didn't it? And we all cheered, didn't we? And his little boy was loving it, wasn't he? When he scored that, he scored some important goals as well as the Ajax game. Someone mentioned yesterday the Barcelona away game to get us the draw, to get us through the group stages. That was Lucas Moura that scored that goal as well, wasn't it? That Champions League season. He scored some important goals for us.
He's a decent player. I think sometimes he just gets a bit of a rush of blood. And he tries to do too much rather than just laying it off. But as you said, John, that's a winger.
He's a chaos player, isn't he? Like you don't know what he's going to do, but he don't know what he's going to do. So something can happen when he's on the ball, can't he? Because he'll suddenly beat 3 or 4, and he's broken down the block or whatever, and he's away. But I always like him. Like Simon said, he always gave us 110%, and he loves the club, doesn't he? So it was a shame that what happened to him at Liverpool, the abuse he got, really. It shows no class from our fans, does it really, when they do that?
I think this also shows, though, you get a player like Eric Dyer who will make mistakes and mistakes and mistakes. Yeah. And Lucas Moura makes one mistake and he comes out on Twitter and apologizes.
Yeah.
You'd never catch Eric Dyer doing that because
it's always someone else's fault, isn't it? It's always someone else's fault.
He doesn't care. Whereas Luke, I think probably because, you know, Lucas came from absolutely nothing. Apparently, he lived in a favela and didn't have a pot to piss in. Whereas I think Eric Dyer's had a quite comfortable upbringing, and so maybe he's not quite as thankful for earning hundreds of thousands of pounds for doing a subpar job every week.
Exactly that. As well as going back to what I was saying earlier about like the whole attitude when you look at like League One and stuff like that. You know, that hunger that's there, because you probably were, you know, this time last week were playing part-time, you know, you're still working at, you know, building site or whatever. That as you progress, look at Dele Alli, for example, that as you progress, that shapes you as a person. And when it shapes you as a person, when you're at the top, it means a difference. And you know the difference is with like Lucas and stuff like that. When he makes mistakes, it's usually because he's out of position. It's the classic like forward trying to do some defending and getting it wrong. Can't really blame because that's not their job. Or the other way around when you got like, you know, defenders having a pop at goal from 20 yards out and it goes into row Z. You know, it's like, well, okay, yeah, we've got to expect that. And yeah, I don't think Lucas has done that much wrong. It's just high profile mistakes have gone around. And do we know what he's going to do now? Does he? I can't. make it.
No, I read the statement yesterday to see if it mentions he's going back to Brazil. It was presumed he's going back to Brazil, doesn't it? But he's just available on a free transfer. The statement on Tottenham website doesn't mention what he's doing. So
You think he'll want to
he's
stay
just
in
out
England?
of contract.
How old is he now? 31?
Yeah, he's not old. It's only 31. My sister thought he was like 34, 35. I think he might even be 29, 30. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I wish the guy well. I hope he does.
Just don't go to West Ham or something like that, and
Oh God, no!
we'll fall out. You know.
Oh, can you imagine fucking Chelsea or something? Oh, jeez.
With Poch, yeah.
That'd be genuinely so sad to see him like just sat on the Chelsea bench week in, week out. Just oh God.
But that's what wasn't it? Pochettino who said that Davison Sanchez was going to be the best centre half in the country. So if he does go to Chelsea, then hopefully he'll take Davison Sanchez off our hands for 100 million. Thank you very much, Agent Pochettino.
Yes.
He said some mad things, Pochettino. Like,
yeah, okay.
I still can't get my head around that. Have we got time to talk about Pochettino, Jens, or not?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Just
has he actually?
No, he hasn't. That's the thing. So I'm refusing to process it all until it's official.
Oh right, okay. I thought it was done deal. He's, you know.
So the implication is, isn't it? Yeah, I just don't. The whole thing about Pochettino is the loyalty and the respect for your teammates and the respect for your club and the togetherness and stuff. I don't see how he could have been involved in those Battle of the Bridges and all those battles we had with Chelsea, and then his actual character and morals as a man to actually go to Chelsea. I can't get my head around it at all. And until it's signed and sealed, I can't get my head around it. I don't know what you guys think. Just if he's only going there for the money, because also the Chelsea fans will show him no patience, will they? Because they don't like him because he's a Tottenham. He's seen as a Tottenham man. So as soon as he gets a few bad results, look what happened at Tottenham. He needed patience to turn it around, didn't he? We were getting on his back, weren't we? There was that Villa game where Harry scored that deflected free kick. There was a lot of pressure on him. There'd been bad results. We weren't playing very well. People were calling for him to leave. And luckily, we showed him a bit of patience. He's not going to get that at Chelsea because he's a Tottenham man, isn't he? So as soon as he gets a few bad results, the crowd are going to be his back. There's going to be pressure to get rid of him. I can't understand why he's going there. What he could hope to achieve, really.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't think he's thought about it. I think, like Alan says there, if he has just verbally agreed, but I don't think he's thought about anything of what you just said. I think he's just thought, I've had such a bad time at PSG and what have you. I just want to be back in the Premier League. I love being in the Premier League. Like a lot of managers do, and you know, it's like almost. I think it might just be a comfort zone thing for him. You know, I know what I'm doing there. You know, that kind of thing. I think I can do better than I did last time.
It just seems to me that for very little benefit, or everything he's losing with Tottenham and the connection with our fans, and he's going to piss us all off for not very much because he's not going to get the patience to succeed there. He's not going to get the time.
He's not thought it through. I don't think he's.
Have we actually heard any direct quotes from Pochettino saying that he's going to Chelsea?
No, it's just media, isn't it? Saying that they understand it's been agreed and they understand this and they understand
Here we
that.
go, Fabrizio.
Yeah. Maybe Pochettino and Levy have got this master plan that they're going to string Chelsea along until it's too late for them to get any other good managers, and then we're going to announce Pochettino.
And they end up with Jody Morris and John Terry.
Yeah.
It's been it's been on the BBC website, I think, on the sport website, which is about as, you know, they're always late with stuff. So, but when they do play stuff, it's usually set in stone. So,
yeah. But wasn't it going to be towards the end of last week that he was going to sign? And has anyone heard it?
Yeah.
As yet.
Do you think he'll go in your heart of hearts?
No,
because of all that.
No.
Maybe he was just testing the waters a bit to see how the reaction with the Tottenham fans would be. Whether he'd get a lot of that blowback saying, "Yeah, we don't blame you, Poch, go there," and everyone's going, "Will you be dead to us if you go there?"
You know, probably the only way.
Not my head.
Probably the only way to get Levy out of jail by bringing him back. Because
yeah.
But to be honest, when Poch came in, our team was completely different to what it is now. We had some very, very promising youngsters then. Now, Not so much. I'm talking about Danny Rose and Kyle Walker, even Eric Dyer. You know, he was.
You've got a doggy and Spence Jens. We have got some promising youngsters, haven't we? Like left back, right back, Skip in the middle. Benton Cool coming back.
Yeah, sorry, you're right there. Yeah, I didn't think about that comment very well. And obviously Skip as well. Alfie Devine. I think he's gonna make the step up. I mean, even myself is shouting about Mikey Moore. He's 15 years old.
You got to be careful doing that, pal. You'll be Philip Schofield. You'll be cancelled before you know it.
Oh God, the less said about that, the better. I can't believe that shit. Anyway, so who, if you guys still have time, because I'm kind of enjoying this, who would you like to see as the new manager? Simon, you've obviously said Thomas Frank. Don't think we've really got an answer from you guys below. Any real preference? Would you like to see?
Can we have anyone in any? Does that have to be free and available or linked, or can we have anyone in the whole world?
I'd say anyone.
I want a top class manager. I don't want a project. You know, I want a top class manager, and I will include Pochettino with that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Poch, I've just been reading there. Poch has agreed a deal. It's just he doesn't take over until the summer, so probably looking at end of June time.
And that's what site is that on?
It's on BBC.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. So,
I wouldn't believe a word the BBC say. They've been proven wrong about so many stuff over the last couple of years.
Oh, really? Okay. I was still pretty nailed on, but
no, they're well in bed with the Conservatives. They had to sack their Director General recently because he lent him Boris Johnson loads of money.
Yes. Yeah.
And obviously that was in return for favours, putting out propaganda and news and stuff.
True, but they're usually pretty spot on about sport and stuff.
I'm refusing to believe it until I see him there. I just can't get my head around it. I don't think how can you go from that? Someone who puts such importance on loyalty and character and your character as a man and, what you stand for and your morals and your ethics and stuff like that.
He said some mad stuff in the past that it's just like you wonder. It seems to be like what he's saying about different things and crazy quotes and all that. That's a sign of a person who, in the context of whatever was being talked about at the time, just gets carried away and says something. And I think this is like I said earlier, what you were saying. You're absolutely right about how bad it is to be at Chelsea, especially after being at Spurs. He won't have thought about it. He'll just have got like, Premier League again, and I get paid more. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah. And just agree to it without like.
What's also annoyed me, Simon, is the fact that his PR team or his people were putting out these kind of little teasers saying, it's not as if it's Arsenal kind of thing. They're not the Arsenal, the main rivals. But I remember damn well Pochettino saying Chelsea are our main rivals now, maybe even more so than Arsenal. I remember a direct quote, and someone found it on Twitter the other day, the interview where he said it. So he knows damn well that they're a direct rival of ours. We hate them. We can't stand them. And I don't understand why he would want to burn his bridges with the fans. Maybe with Levy, Levy and the club and Donna Cullens who don't like him. He didn't get on with them. But why burn your whole legacy and up in flames over a quick payday where you're going to get no patience? Exactly. And you're not going to have the tools to succeed at Chelsea. It doesn't make sense to me, A
more level-headed Pochettino would have been like, okay, I'll wait until let's say Everton. If Everton stay up, I'll go to them because I'll get paid a decent amount because they're a big club. But also, I'll get the kudos of like bringing them way back up. You can't do any wrong at Everton.
Sleeping giant,
Whoever steps in. And get them to like, fifth or whatever, which would be an amazing achievement. And have that as a kind of like, on your CV. But he's not a level-headed guy. So I think it is literally just like, bless him, just like, back in Premier League, yay, let's go.
But the thing that doesn't make him level-headed is his passion for the game and his passion for Spurs and stuff. Where does that suddenly disappear to? That you go and manage one of our deadly rivals. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Since he's left us, it's been literally years. It's been quite a few years, and that he's not been in the back.
He still wears Tottenham training clobber and stuff, doesn't he? You see him in his Instagram videos. Yeah, he's still got his Tottenham training clobber and stuff.
Well, another key important factor though might be that he's won 2 trophies with PSG since, and he looks at Spurs and thinks, "Am I likely to win a trophy there?" Probably not.
No one's going to win a trophy.
Not while Levy's still there.
No, I think the deadline's next week. I think I'm giving up my season ticket. I can't continue to support this bullshit until something changes. If he's not going to back Mourinho and Conte, he's revealed his hand. That's the end for me. He's got no interest in trying to win, so he's not getting my money anymore. He can fuck off.
Until Levy goes, our money stays.
Yeah.
That's very, very true from Alan. It's the same as Jose and Chelsea when he came to us. When he was asked what's changed, he said they sacked me.
It's true, yeah.
But that's what he said. He might have the needle with Levy and Donna Cullen and whatnot. But yeah, what about us? You know?
Yeah.
He's burning his bridges with us, and he's such a loyal, passionate, ethical man. It doesn't strike me as something that stays true to his character. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. It's a bad decision from him. You think
it's agents?
He hasn't got an agent. He's famously hasn't got an agent. He does his own negotiations and deals and stuff. Doesn't believe in agents.
I don't think he'll reach the same heights as what he did with Spurs, which would be so ironic. And
he won't get the patience. All the chat. I've got a couple of Chelsea fans at work here, and they go, "Oh, he should. We don't want him. He's shit. Get rid of him." So as soon as he has a few bad results, they're going to be straight on him, and he's burnt his bridges with Tottenham for nothing. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense.
As soon as Bowley goes out and buys another 10 centre forwards that he's seen on the Football Manager. And,
well, if you're Bowley, you want him because Bowley's a Tottenham fan, isn't he? So he obviously went through all the Pochettino years. Yeah, he's a Tottenham fan. So he obviously wants Poch because Poch is the main man for him, isn't he? Because he gave him some of his best football and enjoyable time. So obviously he wants him. I'd want Poch if I set up a club. I had billions. I'd get Poch. Yeah.
We should have had Poch instead of Stellini. So as soon as Conte went, we should have had Poch in, and that just to the end of the season. And that would have been a good period of time and a good time for us to step back and say, okay, what's he like now? It's been 5 years or whatever. Let's see where he's head at. Let's see if he's any good, and then decide whether to keep him or not. But of course, Levy fucked it up.
What's the relationship between him and Levy? I can't imagine it's that good.
It's probably the best one we've seen out of anybody in the last 10 years.
There's been a few positive comments coming out saying that they're still friends and it was a difficult decision and now they've built their bridges. But how true it is, it's Donna Cullen that doesn't like him. She doesn't want him. So you have to kind of decide who's more important to the club, Donna Cullen or Pochettino, And he's obviously decided Donna Cullen's more important.
Well, obviously, her PR is top notch.
Yeah, top drawer, isn't it? Yeah.
It doesn't matter, does it? Because Levy's Levy; he never changes. So,
yeah. Okay, then. Any last thoughts, gentlemen? Kev, you're a bit quiet.
I know, sorry, mate. It's destroyed me. The whole season has from start to finish. I just can't wait for next week, and it's ended. And. I'll take we'll finish off the season's discussions and everything. That's fine for me. And then I'll take a nice hiatus, a nice little break from it all.
That's what's most upsetting as well, Kev, to see what it's done to long-term supporters like you at the moment. That's the other thing that's pissed me off because you've lost your passion and enthusiasm for the club, and that should never be the case. So at one end, he's fucked you lot off. And my sister said to me yesterday, my nephew's 5, and she said to me in all seriousness, she goes, I was thinking this the other day. Maybe we could let Leo decide who he wants to support because Tottenham. They're not ever really going to win anything. So maybe a few of his friends support Man City. So maybe he could support them. I said, there you go, Mr. Levy. That's what you've done. The youngsters aren't interested in watching this anymore, and the long term fans like Kevin are losing that passion and desire that they've always had for the club. That's your legacy. He always talks about a legacy, doesn't he? That he's fucked everyone off now.
Yeah. Well, my son. Paul is 43, and I brought him to Spurs when he was 5 years old, and he's still a Spurs fan. But my grandson Charlie, I think he wears Barcelona shirts and stuff like that. I wouldn't blame him. It's the modern world we live in, So
yeah, my nephew's got his dad's Spanish, so he's got Barcelona as well. They won the league the other day, so he's got the glory on that side of things. Yeah. But poor lad, we've condemned him to a lifetime of misery, haven't we? Making him support Tottenham. Hopefully not.
The sad thing is, people like Jens earlier with that talking about that email sent to Spurs. I think that's more endemic than we think, you know. And what a sad situation to be in. Like you were saying earlier, what we should be talking about now is we should be asking Jens, "Oh, you renewed your season ticket?" Oh, and Jens would be saying, "Did it bloody ages ago, mate?" Yeah, of course I did. But no, he's had to wait this long. He's thought about it and even been probably tossed and turned about it, and he's had to freaking email in saying, "I don't want it. I just don't want it." How sad that is. And like you were saying earlier, it's like the long-term Spurs fans are the ones
feeling disconnected, aren't they? They're feeling disconnected.
It's amazing. I growing up as a Tottenham fan, I was kind of used to losing to the big clubs. Yeah, and I used to get really, really upset when we lost to the so-called lower clubs or middle. Yesterday,
I was at that game.
I expected it. At half time, I thought we might actually win this. And then within, I think, 5 minutes of the second half, I thought it's going to be the same old thing. And it was just, my wife came walking gingerly back in with Olivia. Are you okay? It's like, yeah, I'm fine. What do you want for dinner?
Yeah.
Before I'll be raging. You know, I don't want to talk.
Jens, Zoe said to me yesterday, we shouldn't be losing to teams like Brentford at home. Why are you not pissed off? I was like, I didn't think we'd win. I had no expectation that we'd win. That's why I'm not upset, because I thought we might lose today. I could see it happening, you know.
Yeah.
We should be beating teams like Brentford at home, but at the moment we're not in a position to be able to.
Alan says.
Yeah. That's Levy's legacy. Look at that comment from Alan. Yeah.
Years for me, and now I no longer care. And that is it's a crying shame.
There's your legacy,
3
Mr.
years
Levy.
of your life put into supporting a team, and now you don't care.
Because it's not seen as our team anymore. It's that cunt's team at the moment, isn't it? He's doing what he wants with our team, and we've got no power. And it's the helplessness, isn't it? We can't do anything to get rid of him.
It's accountability.
Keep trying.
Yeah. It's like
we're just insects, aren't we? We're just insects, apparently.
Yep. Yeah. Can I be a bee? I'm going to go and support
I was about to say, most of my mates my age are not packing in their season tickets because they get discounted pensioner rates.
Yeah.
They pay $495, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they love it. You know, they've been to season tickets all their lives, but now they're only paying $495. They can't believe it.
Yeah, they've earned their dues, haven't they? They've earned that right. Yeah.
Well, that is actually one good thing that the club's doing.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, having said that, you know, there's a guy. He's on one of the podcasts. Jar Wobble. I think he was a musician, isn't he?
Oh, yes,
he turned 65 before the new season starts, and he applied for his discounts for his OAP discounts, and they said no, we're not accepting any more discounts in that stand. You got to move if you want it. Yeah, they refused his thing. They said we're not accepting any more discounts in that part of the stand, so they've turned him down. Yeah. They've offered that he's got to move basically to somewhere where they are allowing concessions at the moment.
I don't know him personally, but he's a mate of mine, Terry. Mate of mine, Terry's a mate of his. Yeah.
He's
good fella.
Doesn't he do reggae music? John?
Yeah.
Like
that. He's a bit of a poet. He's a bit of a poet as well.
Oh, is he? Okay.
As well as
he does not know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good lad. He calls out the board and stuff. Tells it how it is. On Chris Cowling and Last Word on Spurs and whatnot. Good guy. And they turned him down. Yeah, so he's got to move, basically. He's got to move his season ticket.
I thought Chris Cowling had his tongue so far up Levy's jacksie that you couldn't see his face.
They give all the opinions on his channel. Apparently,
really?
That's their official. Yeah, they it's their job to be a broad spectrum of all opinions, and not all fans are Levy out. So he says he doesn't think the show should go down that route, you know.
Okay. So what's going on with Shelfside Spurs then, John?
Oh, God knows. I don't know what is it a football show anymore? I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know what Rez and Barry were doing the other day. They were. I tuned in briefly, and they were having an anti-football week. They weren't talking about football this week.
Okay.
So still going every Thursday, 7 o'clock-ish.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. In the able hands of Rez and Barry at the moment.
I won't be watching that. I don't think I've tuned in for about 3 months or so.
I'll take that as a compliment that I'm not on there anymore, Jens. That's what it is. Yeah. Supporting me in my endeavours in life.
Are you making any money out of that yet?
No, we're not. We've gone over 1,000 subs, but we're not monetized because you get a lot of restrictions on, and
Oh, right. Okay.
you have to watch what you say, and you know you
Yeah,
get credits against you and stuff if you use
Oh, that's
copyright
right.
stuff. Yeah. Exactly. We'll stay on free, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And then Barry
Crack the
comes on and
system.
says, I really like this Big Mac.
Yeah.
Okay, then, chaps. Anything to plug?
Not personally. I just want to give a shout out to Gateshead Football Club today in the FA Trophy final. Former Wycombe boy Mike Williamson as the manager. It's the first time they're playing Halifax Town at 4:15 kickoff.
FC Halifax, isn't it?
Yes.
Right.
Have they changed their name? Have they, or is it a different entity?
Oh, they went out of business.
That's what I was going to say. It's the first time that two Phoenix clubs have played each other in the final. So it's going to be interesting to watch. But I'm going for Gateshead just because of Mike Williamson, the manager, again, former chairboy.
Is that on any channels that you know?
I don't know. I've just been trying to have a look there, but I've got a decent stream for all games. So
I think it's on Sky or BT, one of the two.
Oh, was it? Okay.
probably
BT love supporting non-league football, don't they? They're quite good.
Okay. Kev.
Yes, mate. What are we doing next week? Are we doing anything next week at all?
Yeah, if you want to.
I'm probably discussing Leeds battering us, Kev, to be honest.
We play on Sunday, don't we?
Yeah, it's all Sunday next week, isn't it?
Was it? Okay. Anything to plug the holes in Spurs' defence, hopefully.
Well, get your boots, Alan. Get your boots.
Wishful thinking, Alan. Wishful thinking.
Yeah.
If you fancy it next Sunday, I think it will probably have to go back to the normal time of 11:30 because the wife's out today at a birthday.
Is that before the games? Because I think they will kick off at 3 or 4 next Sunday at the same time. It'll be before the games, a preview show.
Yeah. If you fancy it, fellas, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Say goodbye.
I'm sure there'll be lots to talk about having in this Spurs world in the next 7 days. Lots will have happened since then.
You're so positive, Alan. I like that. Okay, chaps. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, and
probably the longest one ever, isn't it?
I think it might be. Yeah,
look at that, 2 hours.
I don't think.
Yeah, we've had some good chats. It doesn't seem that long. We've had some good chats. We've covered a lot, haven't we? It's been good.
Yeah, definitely. So if anyone's watching, which at the moment I can see there's 2 people watching, bloody hell.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, hit the bell thingy. We'd really like to get up to 45 subscribers today because we're on 41 at the moment. So if you can get 4 people, just mention it. It's free. Yeah. And you get to see Kev's beautiful face every weekend. So
you should have told me. I'd have had a bloody shave.
Maybe we could tell the Leeds fans we were slagging them off, and they'll all subscribe to the channel to see where watch the whole 2 hours to see where we slagged off Leeds. We love you, really, Leeds.
No, I don't. I absolutely despise them. Okay, then, chaps. Come on, you Spurs. Levy out.
Yes.
Come on, you Spurs.